Why do you push away people who actually care about you? Why do you feel empty when your friend succeeds, even though you're genuinely happy for them? Why do you miss someone who's still sitting right next to you? These aren't random feelings. They're not flaws. They're psychological patterns with actual names. And today, you're going to learn all three. Right now, there are emotions moving through your body that you can't explain. You feel them in your chest, in your stomach, in the way you pull back when someone gets close, in the way you scroll past a friend's success and feel off. But because you don't have words for these feelings, you do two things. First, you blame yourself. Why am I like this? What's wrong with me? Second, you stay silent. Because how do you talk about something you can't even name? Here's what changes today. I'm going to give you the language for three emotions you've felt your entire life. And once you hear them, you'll realize you're not broken, you're not weird, you're just human. And you've been experiencing something that millions of others feel too. Feeling number one, the closeness that makes you want to run. Psychological term, attachment panic. Let's start with the most confusing one. You meet someone. You like them, really like them. They're kind, they're consistent, they text back, they show up. And at first, it feels amazing. But then something shifts. The closer they get, the tighter your chest feels. You start taking longer to reply. You cancel plans. You create distance you didn't consciously decide to create. And afterward, you're sitting there thinking, I wanted this. Why am I ruining it? This is attachment panic. And here's what's happening. Your nervous system learned, probably a long time ago, that closeness equals danger. Maybe love was inconsistent when you were growing up. Maybe it came with conditions. Maybe the people you loved left or hurt you or overwhelmed you. So your brain built a survival rule. If I get too close, I'll get hurt. Now, years later, even when someone safe gets close, your body still sounds the alarm. It doesn't feel like fear. It feels like restlessness, like something's wrong, even though nothing is. So you pull away. Not because you don't care, but because your nervous system is trying to protect you from a threat that doesn't exist anymore. Here's the relief. Attachment panic doesn't mean you're incapable of love. It means your body is doing its job. It's just working off outdated information. Once you name it, you can start to work with it. You can communicate your pace. You can recognize the feeling without acting on it. You can build safety instead of running from it. Feeling number two, being happy for someone, but hollow inside. The psychological term, the anxiety of influence. You're scrolling. A friend gets promoted, another buys a house, someone gets engaged, and you feel happy for them, you do. You like the post, you comment, you celebrate. But underneath that happiness sits something darker, a quiet emptiness, a whisper that says, why not me? And immediately you feel guilty. I'm being selfish. I'm a bad friend. What's wrong with me? Nothing is wrong with you. You're experiencing something called the anxiety of influence. It happens when someone you know achieves something you deeply want for yourself. They're not just a stranger on the internet. They're close enough that their success feels like a mirror, reflecting back everything you haven't done yet. Your brain doesn't process it as jealousy. It processes it as pressure. It's a spotlight on your own timeline, your own insecurities, your own unmet expectations. And here's the thing. You don't want what they have instead of them having it. You just wish you were further along too. This feeling isn't a judgment on your character. It's feedback on what you care about. It's your brain saying, this matters to you. You're not where you want to be yet, and that hurts. Once you name it, you stop feeling guilty. You stop feeling selfish. You realize this is a human response to unmet longing, and instead of shaming yourself, you can honor what the feeling is trying to tell you.
Feeling number 3. Missing someone who's still right there. Psychological term, ambiguous loss. This one's the hardest. You're still in the relationship. You still live together. You still see them every day. But something's changed. The conversations are shorter. The eye contact is less. The warmth is fading. You find yourself missing them, even though they're right there. You feel a grief you can't explain, because technically nothing's ended, but emotionally you've already lost something. This is ambiguous loss. It's grief without closure, loss without a goodbye, pain without permission to feel it. Ambiguous loss happens when someone is physically present but emotionally absent. The version of them you fell for, the one who asked you questions, who laughed at your jokes, who saw you, isn't showing up anymore. And your brain is trying to process a loss it can't fully name. There's no funeral, no breakup conversation, no official ending. Just a slow, painful drift.
Here's what makes ambiguous loss so brutal. You don't feel like you're allowed to grieve because they're right there. So you think, maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe I'm being dramatic. Maybe it's all in my head. But it's not. You're not imagining it. You're not ungrateful. You're not asking for too much. You're experiencing one of the most difficult types of loss, the kind that lives in the in-between. And naming it gives you permission to acknowledge the pain, to seek support, to stop pretending everything is fine when it clearly isn't. Why naming these feelings changes everything. When we don't have words for our emotions, they feel personal, like character flaws, like proof that something is uniquely broken inside of us. But the moment we put language to them, attachment panic, anxiety of influence, ambiguous loss, they stop being personal problems. They become human experiences, shared, universal, normal. And instead of feeling confused, we feel understood. Instead of feeling alone, we feel connected. Instead of feeling ashamed, we feel validated. Because we're not strange for having these emotions. We just didn't have the language for them. But now we do. So, here's my question for you. Which of these 3 feelings hit hardest? Have you experienced one you didn't have a name for until today? Drop a comment and let me know, because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear. And if this video made you feel even a little less alone, hit subscribe. We're all learning this emotional language together.